15 laws, not suggestions, not theories. Laws as certain and unchanging as gravity itself. Napoleon Hill spent 20 years studying the most successful people who ever lived, and what he discovered wasn't luck or chance. It was a blueprint, a code. And today, you're going to understand it. Good morning. I want to talk with you today about something extraordinary. Something that, once you truly understand it, will change the entire direction of your life. You see, most people go through life believing that success is something that happens to certain people, the lucky ones, the gifted ones, the ones born into the right circumstances. But that's not true. Success isn't an accident. It isn't a lottery. It's the result of following certain definite laws, laws that are as real and as dependable as the law of gravity. Napoleon Hill spent 20 years of his life studying over 500 of the most successful men and women of his time. Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Theodore Roosevelt. He didn't study what they said about success. He studied what they did. And what he discovered was this: success is not a mystery. It's a science, and that science is contained in 15 fundamental laws. Now, I know what you might be thinking. 15 laws. That sounds like a lot. But here's the truth. These aren't complicated. They're simple. Profoundly simple. But simple doesn't mean easy, and it certainly doesn't mean common. Most people never learn them, and most people never succeed beyond a mediocre existence. But you're different. You're listening to this. You're seeking. And that tells me something about you. Let me walk you through these 15 laws, not as theory, but as truth. As principles you can begin applying today. The first law is a definite chief aim. You must know what you want, not vaguely, not someday, but now with crystal clarity. Write it down. Make it specific. Make it real. Because here's what happens when you don't: your mind drifts. Your energy scatters. You become like a ship without a rudder, tossed by every wave, heading nowhere in particular. But when you have a definite chief aim, when you know exactly where you're going, everything changes. Your subconscious mind goes to work. Opportunities appear. The right people show up. It's not magic, it's focus. The second law is self-confidence. You must believe in yourself and in your ability to achieve your aim. Not arrogance, not blind optimism, but a quiet, unshakable confidence that comes from preparation, from knowledge, from action. Self-confidence is built, brick by brick, through small victories, through doing what you said you would do, through keeping promises to yourself. The third law is the habit of saving. Now, this isn't just about money, though that's part of it. It's about discipline. It's about controlling your impulses and directing your resources, time, energy, money, toward what truly matters. The person who cannot save is a slave to circumstance. The person who can is the master of their destiny. The fourth law is initiative and leadership. Success does not come to those who wait. It comes to those who act, to those who step forward when others step back. Leadership isn't about a title. It's about taking responsibility. It's about saying, I will start. I will lead. I will make this happen. The fifth law is imagination. Everything that exists was once imagined. Your home, your car, the device you're listening to this on. Someone imagined it first. Your future works the same way. You must see it in your mind before you can hold it in your hands. Imagination is the workshop of the soul. The sixth law is enthusiasm. You cannot inspire others if you are not inspired yourself. Enthusiasm is contagious. It's magnetic. It's the fuel that keeps you going when things get hard, and they will get hard. But when you're enthusiastic about your aim, obstacles become challenges. Setbacks become lessons. And you keep moving forward. The seventh law is self-control. This is the master key. You can have all the knowledge, all the talent, all the opportunity in the world, but without self-control, you will fail. Self-control means mastering your emotions, your appetites, your reactions. It means doing what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. The eighth law is doing more than paid for. Here's a secret most people never learn. The way to get ahead is to give more than you're paid for. Always. Not because your boss deserves it. Not because anyone's watching. But because you are building something, your reputation, your character, your future. The world rewards those who go the extra mile, because so few ever do. The ninth law is a pleasing personality. People do business with people they like. They help people they like. They follow people they like. You don't have to be the smartest person in the room, but you do have to be someone others want to be around. Be genuinely interested in others. Be kind. Be reliable. Be someone who lifts others up. The 10th law is accurate thought. Think clearly. Think based on facts, not fears. Too many people sabotage themselves with worry, with assumptions, with opinions masquerading as truth. Seek facts. Think logically. Separate what you know from what you fear. The 11th law is concentration. Focus. In a world full of distractions, the ability to concentrate on one thing at a time is a superpower. Don't scatter your energy. Don't chase every shiny object. Direct your full attention to the task at hand, and you will accomplish more in 1 hour than most people do in a week. The 12th law is cooperation. No one succeeds alone. No one. The greatest achievements in history were the result of people working together, pooling their talents, their resources, their ideas. Learn to cooperate. Learn to collaborate. Learn to build bridges, not walls. The 13th law is profiting by failure. You will fail. Everyone does. But failure is not the enemy. Quitting is. Every failure carries with it the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit, if you're willing to learn from it. Thomas Edison failed 10,000 times before he invented the light bulb, but he didn't see those as failures. He saw them as 10,000 ways that didn't work, and then he found the one that did. The 14th law is tolerance. Keep an open mind. Listen to others. Respect different viewpoints. Intolerance closes doors. It shuts down possibilities. It makes enemies where you could have allies. Tolerance doesn't mean you have to agree with everyone. It means you're wise enough to recognize that you don't have all the answers, and that's okay. And the 15th law, perhaps the most powerful of all, is the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Treat people with respect, with honest, with fairness, not because it's easy, not because they deserve it, but because you are building a life of integrity. And in the long run, integrity is the only foundation that lasts. Now, here's what Napoleon Hill understood that most people miss. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Success is governed by natural law. You know, most people live their entire lives believing that success is something mysterious, something reserved for a chosen few, the lucky ones, the ones born with advantages, the ones who just happen to be in the right place at the right time. And if you've ever felt that way, if you've ever looked at successful people and thought, well, that's fine for them, but I'm different. I don't have their connections, their education, their breaks. Then I understand, because that's exactly what they want you to believe. Not successful people, mind you, but the world, the cynics, the ones who've given up and want you to give up too. Here's what troubles me most. Millions of people right now are working hard, trying their best, doing everything they think they should do, and getting nowhere. They wake up early. They put in the hours. They're good people with good intentions. And yet, year after year, nothing really changes. They're stuck. And the worst part, they don't know why. Now let me ask you to pause for just a moment, because what I'm about to tell you isn't theory. It isn't motivational fluff. It's something Napoleon Hill spent 2 decades of his life proving, and it's something that once you understand it will change everything. Here it is. Success operates by law, not by luck, not by chance. Think about that. When you drop something, it falls. It doesn't fall sometimes. It doesn't fall only for certain people. It falls every single time for everyone because of the law of gravity. That's a natural law. It's consistent. It's dependable. It's indifferent to your background, your education, or your circumstances. Now here's what Hill discovered after studying over 500 of the most successful people who ever lived. Success works the same way. There are laws that govern it, principles that, when followed, produce results as predictably as planting seeds produces crops. You plant corn, you get corn. You plant wheat, you get wheat. You don't plant corn and hope for tomatoes. That's not how nature works, and success isn't any different. The law of cause and effect is always operating. Always. The successful people Hill studied weren't superhuman. They weren't luckier. They simply understood, whether consciously or unconsciously, that certain actions produce certain results. They aligned themselves with these laws, and the laws did the rest. When Thomas Edison applied the principles of persistence and experimentation, he didn't get lucky. He got results. When Henry Ford applied the principles of vision and organized effort, he didn't stumble into success. He built it methodically, step by step. These laws don't care about your past. They don't care about your failures. They don't care if you're starting from zero. They only care about one thing. Are you following them? If you are, you'll succeed. If you aren't, you won't. It's that simple. Not easy, but simple. The problem isn't that success is mysterious. The problem is that most people never learn the laws. They operate on guesswork, on trial and error, on hope, and hope without knowledge is just wishful thinking. But you don't have to live that way anymore. So here's what this means for you right now, today. You are not at the mercy of chance. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are not limited by where you started or what you didn't have. If you learn these laws, these 15 principles that Hill laid out, and if you apply them consistently, deliberately, with faith and action, you will succeed. Not because I'm telling you a nice story, but because that's how the laws work. You don't have to believe me. You just have to test it. Apply one law, then another. Watch what happens. The results will speak for themselves. Success isn't reserved for other people. It's governed by law, and laws are available to everyone. The question is, will you learn them? Will you use them? That's the only question that matters. A definite chief aim is the starting point. Let me tell you something that might sting a little. Most people don't know what they want. Oh, they think they do. They'll tell you they want to be successful. They want to be happy. They want financial security. They want a better life. But those aren't goals. Those are wishes. Vague, shapeless wishes that float around in the mind like clouds, never quite forming into anything solid, never quite becoming real. And here's what happens when you live like that. You drift. You react to whatever comes your way. You take the job that's offered. You follow the path of least resistance. You let other people's priorities become your priorities. And before you know it, 10 years have passed, and you're nowhere near where you wanted to be because you never actually decided where that was. The really troubling part, you can work incredibly hard and still end up nowhere, because hard work without direction is just motion. It's activity without achievement. It's being busy instead of being effective. And that's the trap most people fall into. They confuse movement with progress. Now, I want you to think about something for a moment. Think about a ship leaving harbor. A great ship built for the open ocean, capable of traveling anywhere in the world. But imagine that ship has no destination, no coordinates, no chart. The captain just says, set sail, and hopes for the best. What happens to that ship? Where does it end up? Nowhere. Or worse, wherever the wind and currents take it. It becomes a drifter, tossed by every storm, pushed by every wave, at the mercy of forces it doesn't control. But now imagine a different ship, same vessel, same crew. But this time the captain knows exactly where he's going. He's charted the course, he's marked the destination, he knows precisely how to get there. That ship doesn't drift. It drives forward. And when storms come, and they will come, the captain adjusts, recalculates, but never loses sight of where he's headed. That ship arrives. This is what Napoleon Hill meant by a definite chief aim. It's your destination, your target, the one thing that, if you achieve it, will make everything else in your life fall into place. Not 3 things, not 5 things, one thing. Because here's what Hill discovered: the human mind is the most powerful force on earth when it's focused, when it has a clear, specific, burning objective. But when it's scattered, when it's trying to go in 6 different directions at once, it loses all its power. Think of sunlight. Diffused sunlight is warm, pleasant, but it doesn't have much force. But take that same light and focus it through a magnifying glass onto a single point, and what happens? It burns, it cuts, it ignites. Your mind works the same way. When you have a definite chief aim, when you've written it down, when you think about it every day, when you've made it so clear that you can see it, feel it, taste it, something remarkable happens. Your subconscious mind goes to work. It starts filtering opportunities. It starts connecting dots you didn't even know were there. The right people appear. The right books find you. Doors open. Not because of magic. Not because the universe is conspiring in your favor. But because you're now looking for something specific, and when you know what you're looking for, you start to see it everywhere. So here's what this means for you. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to know every step of the journey. You don't need to see the whole staircase. But you do need to know where you're going. You need a definite chief aim written down. Specific. Clear. So clear that if I asked you right now, what do you want? You could tell me in 1 sentence without hesitation. Because once you have that, once you've defined your destination, everything changes. You stop drifting. You start driving. You stop reacting. You start creating. And you discover something wonderful. When you know where you're going, the house starts to take care of itself. That's not wishful thinking. That's how the mind works when you give it something definite to work on. So ask yourself right now, what's my definite chief aim? If you can't answer that in one clear sentence, then that's your first job, not tomorrow, today, because a ship without a destination will never arrive. But you can. Mastermind Alliance multiplies power. Here's something that might surprise you. Every truly great achievement in history, every single one, was the result of more than one mind. Not one brilliant person working alone in isolation, but multiple minds working together, pooled in a common purpose. And yet, if you're like most people, you're trying to do it all yourself. You're trying to figure everything out on your own. You're afraid to ask for help because you think it makes you look weak. You're protective of your ideas because you're worried someone might steal them. You're going it alone because, well, that's what you've always done. And here's the painful truth: you're limiting yourself. Severely. You're trying to build a cathedral with your own two hands when you could be orchestrating a team of master craftsmen. The lonely genius is a myth, a romantic idea that sounds noble but simply isn't true. Edison had a team, Ford had a team, Carnegie had a team. Every great leader, every great inventor, every person who accomplished something significant had people around them, people who contributed ideas, skills, resources, perspective. Going it alone isn't strength, it's stubbornness. And it's costing you more than you know. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever been in a conversation, maybe with a friend, a colleague, someone you trust, and suddenly, in the middle of talking through a problem, an idea hits you? An idea that wasn't there before. An idea that neither of you could have come up with separately, but together, somehow, you found it. That's not coincidence. That's what Napoleon Hill called the mastermind principle, and it's one of the most powerful forces available to you. Here's how it works. When two or more people come together in a spirit of harmony, focused on a common goal, something remarkable happens. A third mind emerges, an invisible force that's greater than the sum of its parts. Think of it this way. One log in a fireplace burns weakly, struggles to stay lit. But add a second log, and the fire grows. Add a third, and it roars. The logs don't just burn individually, they feed off each other. They create heat, momentum, power that none of them could generate alone. Your mind works the same way. When you align yourself with other people who share your vision, who challenge your thinking, who bring skills and knowledge you don't have, you multiply your power, not by addition, by multiplication. Andrew Carnegie understood this better than almost anyone. He wasn't the smartest man in steel. He wasn't the most technically skilled. But he surrounded himself with people who were. He built a mastermind alliance of experts, engineers, financiers, managers, and together they built an empire. Henry Ford did the same. Thomas Edison did the same. Every leader who achieved something lasting did the same. Because here's the truth: you don't need to know everything. You just need to know the right people. You don't need to be good at everything. You just need to build a team where everyone's strengths complement each other's weaknesses. Two minds focused on one goal are infinitely more powerful than one mind trying to do it all. But it has to be the right alliance. Not just any group of people. Not your drinking buddies. Not people who agree with everything you say. But people who are honest, who are driven, who want to see you succeed as much as you want to see them succeed. He'll call this harmony of purpose. No jealousy, no hidden agendas, just mutual respect and a shared commitment to helping each other win. So here's what this means for you. You don't have to do this alone. You shouldn't do this alone. And the moment you stop trying to be a one-person show and start building your mastermind alliance, everything accelerates. Find one person, just one. Someone who's working towards something meaningful. Someone you respect. Someone who challenges you. Meet regularly. Share ideas. Hold each other accountable. Support each other's goals. Then add another, and another. Not a crowd, a small, focused group of people who genuinely want to see each other succeed. Because here's what happens: their energy lifts you. Their perspective sharpens you. Their accountability keeps you moving. And you do the same for them. You stop struggling in isolation and start thriving in collaboration. You stop reinventing the wheel and start learning from people who've already figured out what you're trying to learn. You stop being one log trying to burn alone and become part of a fire. That's the mastermind principle, and it's waiting for you. The only question is, are you ready to stop going it alone? Because the moment you do, everything changes. Self-discipline is the master key. You know what's interesting? Most people know exactly what they should be doing. They know they should wake up earlier. They know they should exercise. They know they should work on that project, make that call, have that difficult conversation. They know. But they don't do it. And it's not because they're lazy. It's not because they don't care. It's because in the moment, in that critical moment when action is required, something else feels easier, more comfortable, more appealing. They hit the snooze button. They scroll through their phone. They tell themselves they'll do it tomorrow. They negotiate with themselves. They make exceptions. They give in to the feeling of right now instead of the commitment they made yesterday. And here's what's tragic about this: all the knowledge in the world, all the goals, all the potential, all the opportunity, it all means absolutely nothing if you can't make yourself do what needs to be done when it needs to be done. You can have the perfect plan and still fail completely. Because knowing what to do and actually doing it are two entirely different things. Let me ask you something, and be honest with yourself. How many times have you started something with tremendous enthusiasm, a new habit, a new goal, a new beginning, only to abandon it days or weeks later? How many unfinished projects are sitting in your life right now? How many promises have you broken to yourself? Think about that for a moment. Here's what Napoleon Hill discovered, and it's perhaps the most important insight in his entire philosophy. Self-discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. It's the master key that unlocks everything else. You can have a definite chief aim. You can have self-confidence. You can have a mastermind alliance. But without self-discipline, without the ability to control yourself, to direct your actions, to do what you said you would do, regardless of how you feel, none of it matters. Think about a river. A river without banks just spreads out, becomes a swamp, loses all its force. But when you build banks, when you channel that water, direct it, control it, it becomes powerful. It can turn turbines, it can generate electricity, it can move mountains over time. Self-discipline is the banks that channel your power. It's the ability to say no to yourself. No to distractions. No to comfort when there's work to be done. No to the easy path when the right path is harder. But it's also the ability to say yes. Yes to doing what you committed to doing. Yes to showing up even when you don't feel like it. Yes to keeping your promises, especially the ones you make to yourself. Because here's the truth. You can lie to other people and sometimes get away with it. But you can't lie to yourself. Your subconscious mind is keeping score, and every time you break a promise to yourself, you lose a little bit of self-respect, a little bit of confidence, a little bit of belief in your own word. But every time you keep a promise to yourself, every time you do what you said you would do, even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it, you build something. You build integrity, you build character. You build proof that you're someone who can be counted on. And that proof doesn't just affect how others see you. It affects how you see yourself. Self-discipline isn't about perfection. It's not about being hard on yourself or never enjoying life. It's about having control. It's about being the master of your impulses rather than their slave. The successful people Hill studied all had this in common. They could make themselves do what needed to be done, when it needed to be done, whether they felt like it or not. So here's what this means for you. You already know what you should be doing. The question is, will you do it? Not when you feel motivated, not when conditions are perfect, not when it's convenient, but now, today, regardless of how you feel. Start small. Pick one thing, just one thing that you know you should do but have been avoiding, and do it. Not perfectly. Just do it. Then do it again tomorrow, and the next day, and the day after that. Because self-discipline isn't built in a day. It's built in small victories, repeated over time, until it becomes who you are. And when you have that, when you become someone who does what they say they'll do, there's nothing you can't accomplish. The master key is in your hand. Will you use it? That's entirely up to you. Applied faith transforms thought into reality. Here's something that troubles me deeply. I meet people all the time who have dreams. Real dreams. Important dreams. They can describe exactly what they want their life to look like. They can tell you about the business they want to start, the book they want to write, the person they want to become. But when I ask them, so when are you starting? They hesitate. They give me reasons. Good reasons, practical reasons. Well, I need to save more money first. I need to learn more before I begin. I need to wait for the right time. What if it doesn't work? And what I'm really hearing is this: I don't actually believe it's possible for me. Because here's the devastating truth. You can have goals, you can have knowledge, you can have every advantage in the world, but if you don't truly believe in your heart that you can achieve what you've set out to do, you won't even try. Not really. You'll go through the motions. You'll dabble. You'll play it safe. And you'll quit at the first real obstacle. Doubt is the assassin of dreams. It whispers in your ear. It shows you all the ways you could fail. It reminds you of every past mistake. And slowly, quietly, it paralyzes you. Now, I want you to think about something for a moment. Think about the Wright brothers standing on a beach in North Carolina with a machine that had never flown. Think about what everyone else said. What experts said. Heavier than air flight is impossible. It violates the laws of physics. You're wasting your time. But they didn't believe the experts. They believed in something else. What did they believe in? They believed in what they could see in their minds. They had faith, not the kind you find in a church, though that has its place, but applied faith. Faith backed by action. Faith that says, I believe this is possible, and I'm going to act as if it's already true. That's what Napoleon Hill meant by applied faith. It's not wishful thinking. It's not positive affirmations repeated in front of a mirror. It's belief so strong that it compels you to act, to move, to persist even when logic says quit. Here's how it works. Your subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between what's real and what's vividly imagined. When you believe something deeply, when you see it, feel it, live it in your imagination, your subconscious accepts it as true. And once it accepts it as true, it goes to work making it real. It starts looking for opportunities. It starts connecting dots. It starts moving you unconsciously toward the thing you believe in. But, and this is critical, belief alone isn't enough. You must act on that belief. You must apply it. Think of it this way: faith is the seed, but action is the soil, the water, the sunlight. Without action, faith is dormant. It's potential without power. Thomas Edison believed he could create a working light bulb. But he didn't just sit and believe. He applied that faith through 10,000 experiments. Henry Ford believed he could build a car for the common man. But he didn't just dream. He applied that faith by building assembly lines, by testing, by failing, by trying again. Applied faith means you act as if success is inevitable. You act as if the outcome is already decided. Not because you're delusional, but because acting that way forces you to do the things that make it real. When you truly believe, you don't quit after the first failure. You don't stop at the 10th. You keep going because in your mind, success is already yours. You just haven't reached it yet. So here's what this means for you right now. Whatever it is you want to achieve, whatever goal you've set, whatever dream you're carrying, you must believe it's possible for you, not for someone else, for you. And then you must act on that belief today, not when you feel ready, not when circumstances are perfect, not when doubt disappears, because it won't. Doubt will always be there whispering. But faith acts in spite of doubt. Start that business even though you're scared. Write that first page even though you don't know the ending. Make that call even though you might hear no. Take the step even though you can't see the whole staircase. Because here's the secret: faith grows with action. Every step you take strengthens it. Every small victory proves to you that it's possible. And the more you prove it to yourself, the stronger your belief becomes. Applied faith isn't about eliminating doubt. It's about acting in spite of it. And when you do that, when you combine belief with action, you become unstoppable. You don't need absolute certainty. You need enough faith to take the next step. And that's something you have right now. So take it, believe. And then act. That's how thought becomes reality. That's not just a saying. That's a law. Think about it. Everything you see around you, every building, every invention, every work of art, existed first as a thought in someone's mind. They conceived it. They believed it was possible. And then they achieved it. You have that same power, right now, today. But here's the catch: you have to use it. You have to take these 15 laws and apply them. Not tomorrow, not when things get easier, not when you feel ready. Now, because here's the truth, and I want you to really hear this: time is the one thing you can't get back. Every day you wait is a day lost. Every day you make excuses is a day further from your dreams. You don't need perfect circumstances. You don't need more time. You don't need permission. You need a decision to define your chief aim, a decision to believe in yourself, a decision to act with initiative, with enthusiasm, with discipline. The 15 laws are waiting for you. They've been here all along. They worked for Carnegie. They worked for Ford. They worked for Edison. And they will work for you, but only if you use them. So here's what I want you to do today, right now. Take out a piece of paper. Write down your definite chief aim. Be specific. Be bold. Don't hold back. Then, underneath it, write one thing you will do today, not tomorrow, today. That moves you closer to that aim. Just one thing. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be real. And then do it. That's how success begins, not with a lightning bolt, not with a miracle, but with a decision followed by action, followed by another action, followed by another, until one day you look up and realize you've arrived. The 15 laws are your blueprint. The rest is up to you. This is your life, your one extraordinary, unrepeatable life. Don't waste it. Go make it count. Good luck.